everybody, my name is Angie. Welcome to my channel. So today I'm going to be sewing up the Sunshine Crossbody bag. It is a pattern by Bagstock Patterns, so I will be sure to link that down below. If you click, if you're on the YouTube app, in the title it'll say more. If you click more, that'll bring up the description box. So there's been a lot of questions about that lately, how to get to the description box. So I'll have the pattern linked below, and it's a free pattern that they offer. It's a great, cute little bag. I've honestly never made it before, but the instructions look pretty straightforward. Nothing too crazy or anything on it. And I am using cotton, quilt cotton for the lining, and then I am using a canvas for the exterior. The pattern says it gives you a couple of options for interfacing, but I went ahead and I opted to not use foam on this one. So one of the recommendations is to use foam. I've made a couple of things with foam and I'm not the biggest fan of it, so I am gonna see how it turns out not using foam on this particular one. What I did in place of the foam was all of the exterior pieces, except for the vinyl accents on the sides. I use vinyl for that. But the center panels, I went ahead and interfaced those with a woven interfacing, the same as I did for the lining. And then I also did a layer of Decaville Light. So that is the interfacing options that I am choosing for this one. We'll see how it turns out. Like I said, I've never made this bag before, so I'm not 100% sure how it'll turn out, but we'll give it a shot. Let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so the first thing that it has you do is attach the sides over here. So these are my vinyl accents, and this is my back center panel. And I have the centers marked on all of these pieces. So I'm just gonna go ahead and line up the centers. Okay, and then we'll just go ahead and sew those. And then we'll go ahead and open that up and then top stitch. All right, and then it says to go ahead and just trim off the bottom here if necessary. So there we go, that's the back panel, and it looks like there's just a couple little wings up here, little flaps, so we'll just trim those off. All right, we'll set that aside and we'll move on to the front panel. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and get out the front flap, like the larger piece, and then the front lining piece. And what we'll do is I want my zipper to go this way, so I'm gonna put it this way down. And I cut my zipper a little bit longer so I don't have the center of the zipper marked. So I'm just kind of eyeballing the center of it on here. Just stitch that down. I'm just basting that in place. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and take my lining piece and put that down on top of it so that they are right sides together. And I am going to go ahead, and I have the center marked over here. I am going to match up the center marks of the lining and the exterior piece. and then we're going to go ahead and just fold both of these back so that they are now wrong sides together. And I'm going to hit that with the iron really quick just to kind of help it stay down. Alright, so I have that pressed, and then I'm going to go ahead and top stitch. I believe it says in the pattern that you can go ahead and tack the ends of your zipper down. Probably a good idea so that your zipper pull doesn't fly off. I'm risking it, I'll probably regret that. So now I'm going to go ahead and I think what I'm going to do first is tack my stitches down, or tack my zipper down right kind of in line with the edge of the exterior here, because we're going to trim the rest of it away. Alright, trim my threads down, and now I'm going to go ahead and grab that top piece, and this one I forgot to mark the center on. Let's do that real quick. And I also didn't mark the center of the zipper here. Okay, this part, cutting the zipper a little longer, wasn't the greatest idea because now it's hard to find the center of the top of the zipper. Alright, and I don't feel like snipping the nylon just because sometimes it can fray, so I am just putting a pin in it. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and fold up the lining. And we're just aligning it with the top of the zipper so that the edges of the lining are all lined up as well. Just flip the front piece back, and you can hit that with your iron if you would like. I'm just going to go ahead and straight into top stitching because it's folding back just fine. Alright, so now we have this. I'm going to go ahead and just baste down the sides here just to kind of tack the pocket into place. And then when we're done with that, we'll go ahead and trim off these pieces. Alright, so this is what we're looking like now. So now we can go ahead and grab the other side pieces and we can go ahead and put those on there. And because we needed to put it together before we could mark the centers, I didn't mark any centers on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and mark the center so that I know where to align it on here. So I just cut a tiny little notch in it. It'll be well within the seam allowance, just enough to give me a little clear view of where the side is, that I can go and align. all tacked down. I just like to double check, make sure I caught everything. And then you can double check from the inside of the pocket as well. Just kind of feel around, make sure it feels okay. There we go. And I am gonna go ahead and trim off. There's a little bit of overhang on the top here. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim that off. All right, there we go. That's what we're looking like. It's pretty cute. All right, so we'll go ahead and set those aside. And, oh, actually, I lied. We're gonna keep these for a second because we're gonna start on the strap connectors. So you have the option of putting them either on the side of the bag so that they are, you know, over here, or you could put it up on the top here. I'm gonna go ahead and put it up on the top. I don't know, that's the way I prefer it. So I have my D-ring pieces that I already went ahead and pressed with the sides. I found the center and then pressed with the sides going in. So we just have the raw edges facing in, and I'm just gonna go ahead and top stitch on either side of both of these. Okay, so we got our two pieces here, and this is going to be folded on top of each other, so it's fine that the raw edges are showing like that. So now we'll go ahead and take each of our D-ring pieces, slide that on. Okay, and then the pattern says to go ahead and just stitch as close as you can up to the D-ring piece, just to kind of hold it in place so that when you're, I have a bag that I didn't do that on, and the D-ring kind of keeps sliding around, so. And I didn't hold my thread, so I have a little bit of a rat's nest here. I hate it when I do that. And then I am also going to go ahead and do another basting stitch down here just to hold that in place so that it, you know, this part doesn't start shifting around, whatever, while I'm sewing it later on. I don't think that would be an issue, but I probably do a little excessive basting, but better that than stuff shifting later on. All right, so need to think this through. What a lot of people I have seen who make this bag, what they do is they have, all right, so let's see, this is the bag, front and back. They have one connector on one side of the front and the other connector on the other side of the back. So then if I flip it around, they'd both be on the same side. Okay. Yeah. All right, so now we need to go ahead and attach these. So I am going to put them one on the left side over here of the front panel. That way when you're zipping it open, this isn't in the way of you grabbing the pole. Yeah, I think down here will be good. And I'm doing 1 inch hardware on mine. I believe the pattern is written for 3/4 inches. So I'm gonna do my hardware a little bit closer to the connector over here, just so that it gives me enough room over here. So I'm doing about an inch, an inch from this seam here. And then I am just letting it overhang just a little bit. No, I don't want to do it on that one. Do it on this one. So they're on opposite sides. See if I'm doing them the right way. Or if I'm thinking this through correctly and doing it how I intend. I'll just base that in place. So now this part is done, we can go ahead and set that aside, and we will start on the lining zipper pocket. So I like to do the zipper pockets a little bit differently than what is in the pattern. So you can do whichever way you want. I find it to make more sense and just be easier for me to remember the steps and everything doing it this way. So you can, take your pick of which way you want it to go. All right, so ultimately the zipper pocket is going to be in the same place and the same size and everything as what is in the pattern. It's just a different method to achieve the zipper pocket. So what we're gonna do is just draw a line 1 inch down from the top of the zipper pocket piece, and then 1 inch from either side. So 1 inch in and 1 inch down. And then I am using number 5 zipper for the pocket. So I am going to do another line, another 1/2 inch down. And again, still 1 inch from either side. And then just form that into a box. And then we're going to align that 1 inch down from the top. And I have my top middle notch marked there so that I'm lining up the centers. So ultimately what we're going to be doing, we have this piece 1 inch down and then this 1 inch down. That looks more than 1 inch. Yeah, I did 1 1/4 inches. Whoops. Let's try that again. Okay, try that again. I drew it the wrong distance. I'll do a different color this time so I know which box I need to be looking at. Okay, start over. 1 inch and 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch. All right, so I'm following the green box, not the pencil box. But again, we're gonna align it 1 inch down with the centers aligned. So we got 1 inch down and 1 inch down. So we're still placing it at the 2 inch mark. So this is just a different way to do it. Instead of drawing the box on this side back here, we're doing it on this one here. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and hold it. You can pin it if you want. I'm just gonna hold it. So I got my stitched box, and then we're gonna go ahead and let me get out my other scissors for this one. These ones help me get into the corners a little bit better. So you can take a seam ripper and rip through the center there, but I am just gonna go ahead and fold it and then take a snip. And I'm not following the drawn line here. I'm just eyeballing the center of where I snipped, or I'm sorry, of where I sewed. And then just trimming down the center until you get to about 3/8 or 1/4 inch from the edge of your stitching line. And then we're gonna snip into the corner of the box, not snipping your threads though. Okay, and then we're gonna push this through the opening here. Pull it all through so that the zipper lining or zipper pocket lining piece is all through here. And then just give it a press with your iron so that it all lays flat. All right, so we got that pressed with the iron so it lays flat. So now we're gonna go ahead and take our zipper, and I am gonna go ahead, I've made this mistake before, I am gonna stitch the end of the zipper so that my zipper pull doesn't fly off, just as a precautionary measure. Because again, I cut my zipper length here to be the same as my, like the full pocket, but the opening is only here. So I have a little bit of wiggle room here. So again, you can pin it if you'd like, but what I'm gonna do is just pull my zipper all the way to the end there. And then I center it so that the ends of the zipper come to the end of the pocket and that it's centered in the box here. And then I just kind of hold it in place until I can get it under my presser foot. And just kind of, once I can get it under my presser foot, I just kind of move it into place. It's still aligned just fine. I could probably pull it this way just a little. There we go. And now my presser foot is holding it in place. So I can go ahead and between the presser foot holding it in place and my hands holding it in place, I don't feel the need to pin it, but you do you. And we'll just stitch all the way around. Now I'm getting back to the start here where my zipper pull is. Trim my thread there, and then take my zipper pull and just push it back through here, out of the way, and keep on sewing. All right, there we go. So we have zipper all attached. So now we just need to go ahead and take our other zipper pocket piece And we're gonna lay this down so that they are right sides together. And we'll just clip all the way around, except with this pattern, what we do is leave the pocket open because we're gonna turn the bag through that. Instead of leaving the bottom of the bag open, we're just gonna leave the zipper pocket open. So there's, again, a couple different ways that you can do this. The way to leave the biggest opening in the bottom is to, like, you can fold this up or take both of the pieces and fold them up like this. And it helps it just fold naturally closed when you are turning it. I'm picky and I feel like I can't poke the bottom corners in good enough and it bugs me. So I personally don't do it that way. A lot of other people do it that way. If you're not as particular about me on that, then definitely do it that way because that is the easiest. What I'm gonna do is just sew a little bit on either side, maybe like an inch on either side, which is gonna make my opening a little bit smaller, but makes the corner of the pocket turn out nicely. Which, I mean, it's literally just the zipper pocket, so most people probably don't care that much, but. And as we're going, I'm just making sure that the main lining piece is out of the way so that I am not sewing over that. When I get to the zipper, I can feel that I'm about to go over it. I'm just gonna go ahead and back stitch just to kind of give the zipper that much more security. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and trim the bottom corner there, because again, it just takes some of the bulk out of the seam when I'm trying to close up the bottom. I find it a little bit easier. All right, zipper pocket done with the opening there, and we're gonna go ahead and leave that open since that's what we're going to be turning it through. So we need to make sure when we are sewing this all together that the zipper is open. All right, so for now we can go ahead and set that aside, and we're going to grab our main zipper, and then we're also going to grab the zipper end that we're using, or the zipper tab, and we're just going to go ahead and fold it in half to find the center. Fold it in and in. So we're just making a little encasement there with the raw edges on the inside. And you can hit this with your iron if you like. I am just gonna go ahead and knot. It's fine. And then I'm gonna put this, we're gonna put this on the closed end, or I'm sorry, yeah, the closed end. So when we go and open this up, this is going to be the open end over here because the closed is facing that way. So we're going to put it on this side over here. So now for the main zipper, we've got the zipper tab on the one side. So what we're going to do on the other side is prepare this for not having a zipper tab on the end of it. So I went ahead and marked out, even though it's a free pattern, I don't want to give away measurements. So you'll have to get the pattern, download it for this part of it. But I went ahead and marked a dot of how long I need this zipper to be. And that is where I'm going to be folding the zipper. So basically I am pinching it right on the mark that I drew and then folding this over at a 90-degree angle so that there's a little flap right here, and it is right on that line that I drew. And then you can pin it or clip it. I'm just gonna try my best to hold it in place and just throw a basting stitch down on it. And that just holds it in place just like that. And trim up my thread down on the bottom. And then I'll do the same over here. I have the little, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but I have a little dot here that I'm gonna pinch it right on that dot and fold it up, which then folds this over at a 90-degree angle. And it's right on that dot that I'm gonna sew. And if I did it correctly, the two sides should be the same length. And there we go. So now my zipper will not come off. And those are both the same length. And we can go ahead and just trim this off here without using your fabric scissors. Okay, and then I like to just go ahead and, just because it's a spot that we trimmed on nylon, I like to use a lighter and just kind of melt the edges a little bit, just to make sure that nothing frays. Coil started popping out. All right, so there we go. So now we can go ahead and start assembling the whole thing. Right. So I'm gonna go ahead and take, you can take whichever piece you want, but I like having my zippers kind of go all the same way. So I like to do the side with the zipper first, just so that I can make sure that I have the zippers going the same way. So I have this one closed that way. So this one I want closed that way. And then we're just gonna go ahead and, let's see. Looks like the way that I have it here, it kind of lines up nicely with just having the zipper tab kind of butted up right next to the pole over here, or the D-ring piece. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of butt it up there and align it along the top. I kind of can't put it over anymore because then it would be overlapping this piece, and I don't want that. And then anything over this way would be getting too far into my seam allowance. Pull this out of the way at first. Yeah. All right, and then we'll just go ahead and baste that on. And then we'll take one of the lining pieces. Now this one, the zipper pocket is closed this way, and I want it closed this way. So that tells me that I need the other side that doesn't have anything on it. Doesn't really matter if your zippers are all going different ways, but just how I like to do it. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and align it. I do have the center marked on it, but actually I didn't mark it on the exterior piece, and I'm just at this point aligning the edges. That's more so what I'm looking at. And we're just laying it so that it is all right sides together. And we'll go ahead and sew as close to the zipper as you can get. I just finally bought a hump jumper, so I am gonna try that out. All right, so we got that all stitched on. So now we're just gonna go ahead and take the exterior piece and fold it back. And then we'll go ahead and top stitch. Alright, and then we can go ahead and take this over to our iron and give that a press. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and take this. Well, that's not right. Oh, I did do that wrong, because that needs to be on the other side. Yeah, I did do that wrong. This needs to be on the other side. Good thing my basting stitches are in the seam allowance, so nobody will see these lines. Nobody will know but us. It's fine. So that needs to be on this side then. My bad. So that when I put it down, it's over there. Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay, well at least that screw up was an easy fix. Okay, so now we need to baste this in place, which I'm going to do this and have the zipper be the one that's face down, but we need to make sure that we're pulling this out of the way. We don't want to sew through our D-ring. So what I'm doing is aligning the top over here and then all of the edges. And that's how I know that it's centered. Front is basted on, so now we need to go ahead and put the zipper down, and we see that the zipper is closed this way and closed this way. So I know I got it on right. Alright, so then again, I'll go ahead and fold this back. And top stitch. Word of warning, if you're using marine vinyl, this right here, that seam, these seams here, very thick. My machine is not loving it. I had to cut the camera and go back and redo that because I had some skip stitches even using my hump jumper. All right, and then again, that's the side we just top stitched. So now we're gonna go ahead and press this side open. All right, so we got it all pressed open. So now what we are gonna do is, with our zipper pocket open, we're gonna go ahead and fold it together so that everything is right sides together. And actually my zipper pulls are like super long, so I am pulling that and that into the middle so that I know that they are out of my way and I don't accidentally sew over them. So again, double check, we got the zipper pocket open and we have the bag open at least halfway too. So what we're gonna do is, you can start wherever. Again, the pattern has you kind of like starting and stopping, but I'm just gonna go ahead and do one side, you know, kind of just do all the way around. The lining though, as I'm sewing down, once I get maybe like a third of the way down, I'm gonna start gradually increasing my seam allowance just slightly. I'll use like a 3/8 inch over here. And then I think the pattern has you do like a 5/8 inch, which I usually only do like 1/8 of an inch difference. So I'm just gonna go and increase it to a 1/2 inch on the bottom. I think that'll be fine. But again, you do you. If you want to follow the pattern, be my guest. So I'm gonna do 3/8, and then once I get to about here, I'm gonna start increasing it to a 1/2 inch seam allowance, the entire bottom a 1/2 inch. On my way up, I'll start at a 1/2 inch and then start shifting over to a 3/8 inch seam allowance, and then continue 3/8 and 3/8. Once you get to about the corner seam there, then you're going to shift over and start coming down the diagonal this way. So now I'll continue that 1/2 inch seam allowance down here. And then start at the 1/2 inch. Everything tends to get stuck on the edge here, so I kind of have to hold it up. And then we work our way back over to 3/8 inch. And we're like right up on that zipper tab over here. So I'm gonna shift and come down 3/8. Three-eighths for the whole bottom. My foot, I feel like, I know this is not the correct way of doing it, but I'm using my zipper foot and it's very narrow and it keeps sliding through the middle of this, so gotta improvise. seam allowances we'll just trim down to like 1/4 inch. Okay, now we'll go ahead and box the corners. And you can butterfly them open or push them to one side, or, you know, nest the seams, whichever way. I think I'm gonna butterfly them actually. No, butterflying is too hard once I've trimmed the seam allowances. I lied. We will just nest them. That clip did not stay put in the least. Okay, we are all sewed up. So now, moment of truth, get this thing turned right side out, which we are again doing through that zipper pocket. So we need to be very careful, don't tear the zipper pocket. So what I'm gonna do is poke out these corners, or poke in these corners, I guess, first. And I'll just kind of start working the bag, like the exterior into the lining. I think that might be easiest. You're gonna have to scrunch up the bag. It's just a fact of life. But it should all be okay when we turn it right side out, or like when we get it all flipped out. All right, so now that it's all inside the lining, now I'm gonna start working it through that pocket. Very careful. If you pull too hard, you can break your zipper in the lining. Just go slow, inch by inch, basically. Poke those out, poke that out. Awesome. Now all we got left is closing up that bottom. So now I just go ahead and poke out my corners, but we just sew it up like we typically would. Fold it in. Straight thread. Okay. Clips. Fold it in. You can give it a press if you want, but it kind of just naturally folds usually where you need it to. So I just clip it in place. If it's being stubborn, sometimes I'll give it a press with the iron, but this doesn't seem like it's going to give me too much issues. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and
just stitch that closed as close to the edge as I can get over here. Alright, pocket all sewed up. Poke in those corners. Insert it into the pocket. Close that pocket up and then push in the lining. Woohoo! And then we already got our crossbody strap done. If you want to see how I did this is in my last video. I will go ahead and try and put a link to it on the screen somewhere in here if I can figure out how to do that. But we'll just go ahead and attach that strap, and there we go. We are all done. There's a little bit wrinkles in here, but they should kind of ease out as it sits. All right, my phone is dying, so I gotta make this quick, but here we go. This is the finished product. So, cute little bag. We got the zipper pocket on the front here, and then main zipper with the zipper pocket on the inside. There we go, cute little bag. I think it turned out pretty cute. I think this is a cute project. I will definitely be making more of these. So if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions or anything like that, leave them down in the comments below. I try my best to answer all of them pretty quickly. Be sure to subscribe to stay tuned for future videos. I will see you next time. Bye.